Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of the Laughter for All podcast. I am comedian Nazareth, and thank you for joining me. Today, I have a great guest. We met online, we never met in person, and she's a tattoo artist, and she owns a business in San Diego called Tattoos by Nicki. She's a believer. So we're going to talk about should Christians have tattoos and the whole tattoo business. If you have any questions or anything we want to know about tattoo, join us and chat with us tonight on Comedian Nazareth TV on YouTube or on Facebook under Comedian Nazareth. But if you're watching, you're probably here. So anyway, let's do this.
Welcome to Laughter for All. It's the podcast with comedian Nazareth.
Well, hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of the Laughter for All podcast. I am comedian Nazareth, and thank you for joining me for this 226th episode of the Laughter for All podcast. Let's see updates. Where was I this weekend? Saturday, I was at a comedy club in North Los Angeles. Really, it's actually close to Ventura, Oxnard. It's called Kirby's, and I was headlining there. And it's funny, I did an hour of just clean comedy. It wasn't churchy. It wasn't not like I do churchy stuff. I do churches, but I don't do churchy. You know what I mean? I mean, I talk to the audience who's a Christian in a church, so my material will be more that way. Also, it reflects my belief. And of course, when I did the club, I did an hour. I talked about being a Christian. I talked about how Jesus changed my life and took my fear of death away. Nobody complained. Nobody complained. People came and shook my hands and like, "Hey, I'm a Christian too." And some people like, "Hey, I'm this and that." But nothing, nothing. Everybody was nice. When you make people laugh, they open up and they like you. So that was Saturday night. Sunday morning, I was speaking at the Cove in Anaheim, at the Cove Church in Anaheim. Had a great time there speaking there. This coming Monday, I'm going to be at the huge church, Shepherd Church in Porter Ranch, Pastor Dudley Rutherford Church. Last time I did it, 22, we had over 4,000 people. I don't know, but it's a huge church. So I'm going to be there on Monday night, and the series called Revival. At 24, they have Greg Glory and different other speakers that's coming that week. But I will be on Monday at 6:30 p.m. Come see me. Also on Tuesday, I'm going to be in Bismo Beach, baby. Bismo Beach. I'm doing a pastor's conference in Bismo Beach for the Assemblies of God. And then I'll be back. And then the last next week, I'm going to be at the Renaissance Esmeralda Resort and Spa in La Quinta. La Quinta is Spanish for behind Denny's. No, I mean La Quinta, the city of La Quinta. Anyway, so that's where I'm going to be. Check out my website, find out where I'm going to be. Come see me if you can, because some of those events are just privately or some are enclosed to people. But the one on Monday is open. Tuesday is closed for pastors. If you're Assemblies of God pastor, you can. And then on Increase Conference the week after, I think you have to get tickets to get there. Not for the comedy, for the conference. Okay, that's it. And then the week after, if you're in Oregon, I'm doing four concerts in Oregon, one for the radio station on a Friday night, and I'm gonna do two. One for the homeless ministry, the Harvest Ministry in Bend, Oregon, on Saturday night. Then Sunday morning, I'm going to be speaking at a church in it's somewhere half an hour from. Go to my website, and then Sunday night, I'm going to be at the big church Journey in Bend. We have a comedy concert. I think you can get tickets for that one. Alrighty, enough. I have a guest, a friend. See, I call her friend because I've been, just putting her picture and doing those editing and talking about that. So her name is Nikki. She's a believer. She's a sister in the Lord. For the last 9 years, she had a business called Tattoos by Nikki. She does tattoos. So let's welcome Nikki. Hi, Nikki.
Hi, Nazareth.
Sorry to keep you holding. I talk a lot.
No, you got a lot of good things coming up. That's exciting to hear.
Good. How are you?
I'm great. I'm glad to get this time away. My husband's watching my baby right now, so I can do this.
Yes, I've been trying to get you for a while, but you had this baby 7 months ago. She's 7 months old,
7 months.
and this is awesome. I asked you a silly question. I'll have to say it again because I said when you nurse the baby, is there ink because you have a lot of tattoos on your body? Does the ink seeps into the bloodstream or the cells of the body?
Yeah, and that's why when you're pregnant, you can't get tattoos because the baby will come out with tattoos.
What?
What?
No, you're kidding.
No, I had to think of a comeback though for that.
Oh,
You asked me that.
you're funny. Oh no, but that really the kids don't come with tattoos.
No, kids don't come with tattoos. I'd love
But
to though see. My husband keeps telling me if we just tattoo a little one on the baby just to see like how it grows when she grows,
uh,
be a good
oh,
experiment. But we won't do that.
my friend, he's a comedian. He does the joke where when they were younger, they put a little Tweety bird,
Uh huh.
and now as they're older, it looks like Big Bird.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So, what do you call it? So when someone's pregnant, they cannot get tattoos, right?
No, you can't.
You can't. Okay. So let me ask you this. How okay, when does it hurt? Does it hurt when to get a tattoo?
Of course, it hurts. It's needles going into your skin, but some areas are more sensitive than others. And I feel like the longer your session is, like you kind of start to get used to it. The first like 5-10 minutes, it's a little rough. But once you kind of get into the zone, if it's not in too bad of an area, it's okay. There's areas that hurt more than others. I'd say the most painful spots are going to be like your rib cage, your feet, your spine, like those kind of areas. The
Mm.
easiest spots I would say would be like the tops of your arms, and like your legs aren't too bad.
Now, do you put any numbness stuff on people to do that or no?
I personally don't. They have numbing stuff now that you can use different kind of creams, but I don't like to work with it because I feel like it makes it more difficult to tattoo the skin. It kind of tightens it, and
Mm.
I feel like the ink doesn't go in as easily. And that's just for my style of work. I do a lot of like fine line tattoos and very delicate pieces. If you were doing something more traditional with like bolder lines, lots of colors, they might let you use numbing stuff. So you have to ask your tattoo artist if you're going to get tattooed. Ask them first. Are you okay if I use numbing cream? And then just listen to their advice.
Now, what is the average tattoo time wise? Like, how long does it take? The shortest, let's say the shortest one. How long it would take?
I could do one in 30 seconds if it's just a little heart. I mean, it depends like how big. For me, my average session nowadays is around 4-hour tattoos. Um,
4 hours. Do
yeah,
you? What if you get tired? What do you do?
me like if I get tired,
Yeah.
what do I do? Ask God for some energy. I mean, honestly, I'll just pray about it because there's been days where I've been really tired going into work, and I'll just ask my husband to just pray for me, like pray just for energy to get through the day, and God always gets me through it.
Have you ever got tired, like sleepy, and you're just like slipped, and the angel has like a broken wing, or no?
Thank God, no.
No, no. Do people ask for their money back? Are they like some people like I don't like this after they picked it, or no?
No, thankfully, no, not to me at least. I mean, you can't return it, so
You can return it. Okay. Is it removable like later on in life you let's say you put someone's name and then you meet someone else and you can
uh-huh.
you remove it?
Yeah, you have 2 options. You can go get laser tattoo removal, which usually takes, anywhere from 5 to 10 sessions of laser, and it's super expensive. Or you can just get it covered up with another tattoo.
Oh, you can like from the name you can change the name and put a face
Yeah,
or something.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And what do you call this is interesting. Now, what kind of ink do you guys use?
That's a good question. I mean, the brand I use Dynamic ink, but I don't really know. I wish I could tell you what's in it. I don't know the science behind it.
No, I mean that's fine, but there's one kind of ink that everybody uses,
It's,
or
I mean, they make the ink special for tattoos, like, you're not gonna go to Michael's and buy some ink to tattoo with, so It's very specific. There's so many different brands out there.
And they have different colors, like you can do different colors.
Yeah, and the colors all have really cool names too, like lipstick red and I don't know, there would be like zombie green, like they all have different names, but there's hundreds of colors out there.
Now, you never use like lick it and stick it before you, and then you go draw over it, right? Or no?
It's similar to that. I mean, so for the stencil, we have like a machine that you run the stencils through, and then rather than lick it, you just pour a little bit of the ointment on the skin and rub it. Kind of like, I guess if you're no temporary tattoos are different, but yeah, you could just wet the skin and then you transfer it on there, so you have something to go as your guide.
Okay. But do you sometimes just start from scratch? I mean, not from skin, free skin, without having a stencil or something?
No, I need to have some sort of guide. So a lot of times though, I'll use Sharpies or just some kind
No.
of marker and because I do a lot of florals, so I'll stencil maybe like the flower and then I'll draw in everything around it, like all the leaves.
Now, what do you call it? When did you start Now, you probably were interested in arts and drawing before, right? So
Right, yeah.
tell me, you were born in San Diego, right?
Yes.
What happened after that?
So born and raised in San Diego. When I was younger, I got super into art. Always wanted to do something with art growing up. So when I started thinking about what different kind of avenue that I could take with it, I really liked to draw things for other people. I like to draw things for my friends when they would come to me and they would ask me to combine a bunch of different things. And I was like, that sounds a lot like tattoos. And I also like the aspect of being able to like sit down with a person one on one and hear their story. And
Mm.
tattoos can really, they can really help people through different phases of their lives. If somebody's lost a loved one, it's a really good way to commemorate that person. So I loved that I'd be able to like help somebody get through a really difficult time and give them something that would help get them through it, give them a piece of that would remind them of that person. And so that's when I decided to pursue this career.
Wow. And how long ago was that?
That was high school when I decided I wanted to do that, but my high school counselor actually talked me out of it. She said, "That's not really a good career." She's like, "It's just a fad. It's gonna die out. It's a trend right now. You can't make any money doing that." So I was like, "Okay, well, I'll look for other things to do." And ultimately, I went back to wanting to tattoo after a couple years in college. I was like, "No, I want to do something with art. This is what I want." I met somebody who his brother was a tattoo artist. Got to talking to him, and he was like, he convinced me. He's like, "No, you have a gift. You should use it. Go for it."
That's amazing. Now, when did you become a believer in Christ?
So I was raised in the church. We went to a Methodist church growing up. Both my parents believed in God. They baptized me as a baby, and they definitely raised me to know God. And but it wasn't until I'd say like finding my faith on my own was around 19 years old. I went from the church that I grew up in with my family to Foothills Christian Church, which we were talking about earlier, that you did a show there for them. Um,
Yeah.
I went to a baptism there and I felt something different. I didn't know what it was at the time, but it was definitely in the Holy Spirit. And the message was so good and it just touched me so much. And I started to see that I could have a relationship with God and that it was something that I hadn't experienced before and that I'd be able to really apply those things to my life, like apply the Bible to my everyday life, that there's an answer in the Bible for everything. And that's when I started pursuing God more and realizing it's not just about going to church on Sunday and then living your life how you want to. It's like really about just serving God in your everyday.
Wow. And how did your parents react when you said, "I want to become a tattoo artist"?
They were actually really supportive. Both of my parents were. My dad's not really a fan of tattoos, but he loves the tattoos that I do. My mom has been super supportive. She actually, I just tattooed her on Friday. She already has like a whole sleeve by me. She just started her second sleeve.
What is the sleeve? Is that a full arm?
Yeah, it's like yeah, full sleeve.
How many? You have a lot, right? Who does yours? You can't be doing your own, right?
I haven't I'm that's one thing about me is most tattoo artists have tattooed themselves, and I still haven't tattooed myself.
How can you do that? I mean, doesn't it mess you up?
I don't wanna tattoo myself. I mean, I feel like, yeah, if it hurts, I'm like, I'm gonna stop, but if somebody else is doing it, I'll just be like, "Okay, keep going."
Now, to people who don't know much about tattoos, how much does it cost to do? Like some people have this full. The other day I was on the plane and this guy was in front of me, and
Mhm.
he had this is like he had like Jesus on one side. He had the Mother Mary on the other side. He
Uh-huh.
had a demon on his back. He had a skull on his front, a cross, and then he had some angels on his sides. He was wearing shorts, and then verses on his knuckles and stuff. It's like a children's illustrated Bible. I'm like, can you pull your shirt up? I want to finish the story. But this is expensive. It's expensive when you have a big tattoo, right?
Yeah, if you want good quality work, you're gonna pay for good quality work. I mean, you get what you pay for, definitely. I'd say like right now, I charge 250 an hour right now.
Uh
Um,
huh.
I'd say that's around the average right now in San Diego, but we're also in San Diego and just the cost of living here is so expensive. So we have to kind of gauge it by that. And also too, like by how fast you're tattooing, how long you've been tattooing, all of those things apply. The minimum, like most places now, the lowest that you'll pay for a tattoo is around $100 unless they're doing like a special for some kind of splash day.
$100 an hour or $100 for a
No,
tattoo.
$100 is like the minimum. So if you just wanted to come in and get something really small, like maybe just like a name, you're gonna minimum it's gonna be about $100.
Now, so 250 an hour, and sometimes those takes how many hours sometimes to do?
It could take multiple sessions. Before the baby, I was tattooing like around 6 hours a day. I've dropped it down to 4 hours a day now.
Okay. And
Yeah.
4 hours, can you finish like an arm, a thigh, a chest, a back?
I can do okay, so, like, you can see this right here. Like, this
Yeah.
isn't my work, this was a girl CJ, but this is similar style to what I do. I can do something like this in a day, in 4 hours.
All
It's
this.
just but it's
The
only
whole
on one side, so this side's blank.
Yeah,
Like, something like that, that's about 4 hours.
I see. Okay. And so if it's a bigger thing, like people with colors and everything, people
Uh,
have to come back for different sessions.
yeah,
And
definitely.
what if you can't afford to pay the rest? You just go with half a tattoo.
Yeah, you just have, like, a dog with an unfinished face. Just get the ears.
Have you ever have you ever had to refuse service to people?
Yeah, so right now, like, my booking system is I do a booking day, and so I get like 100 emails and I go through and I pick which ones I want to do. Not
Uh-huh.
everybody does it that way, but there's definitely things that I won't do. Like I won't tattoo someone's face, I won't tattoo someone's private parts. I won't tattoo anything demonic or satanic. Like I want to make sure that my work is glorifying God. So I have it easy because I have my booking system this way that I don't even have to respond to the ones that I'm not doing. I can just, set those emails aside. But yeah, there's definitely things that I won't take.
Mm, that's awesome. That's wonderful. That was one of the questions like I had, because sometimes we used to think like we used to joke like, how drunk were you to get that many tattoos? So
Yeah.
you don't get people drunk walking into the store like, hey, give me a tattoo now.
Yeah, not at our shop. So I actually work at a Christian tattoo shop, and we're located kind of in the suburbs of San Diego.
Mm,
So we're not downtown or like down in PB, like down by the beach. I'd say those shops definitely they're right next to bars, so they definitely get people stumbling in there. And I've
mm.
even worked at shops before that we were open late and we would get people coming in that would be drunk and we'd have to turn them away. But at the shop I'm at now, we never really get that.
Has the business changed since you started when you started doing tattoos to now? Is there a change, advancements, maybe technology or no?
So much. The
Ah,
machines themselves have changed a lot. So traditionally, artists would use coil tattoo machines. Now they've moved over to rotary tattoo machines. So if have you ever been in a tattoo shop?
no, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. No, that's fine. I mean, a lot of people on this podcast maybe haven't. But
Yeah.
if you ever, like, heard the buzzing of a tattoo machine, so that if you hear that buzzing noise, that's a coil tattoo machine. Um,
Uh-huh.
but now you walk into a shop and sometimes it'll be completely quiet because they're using rotary machines. So those rotary
Is it rotary like the phone before you were born? The rotary phones, or what's a rotary
No,
machine?
it's the way the drive is in the machine, but the rotary machines are, like, more they look more like a pen, like a tattoo pen.
Oh, I see.
So
So
they're
it's not a machine that you hold with your hand and do it, or it just you put it under.
no, no, I wish I had my machine with me so I could show you, uh,
Uh-huh.
but it's I mean, people call them the tattoo gun, but we don't like to use that term, so it's a
Oh, I
tattoo
see.
machine, and
Okay.
that's what we use, that's what the needle goes into, and that's what we use when we're tattooing. So the technology there has completely changed since I've been in the industry. The styles of tattoos have changed tremendously since I've started. I feel like they just keep getting better. I know there's a lot of talented people that have gotten into the industry since, and they're just pushing the limits of what you're able to do on skin, which has been super cool to see. And
Mm.
styles have evolved a lot too. So if anybody sees my work with like the delicate floral tattoos with the very thin lines and like the tiny little dots, like that style wasn't really around when I started tattooing. You didn't see that
Mm.
anywhere. Um,
Mm.
and it's been cool because once I kind of developed or I found my style,
Uh-huh.
it's just evolved and I've seen so much more of it start to come out too.
Now, is there regulations for tattoo artists, like government regulations? There's certain age limit you can't work on, or
Yeah,
some.
and it's different by state. The state of California, the age limit's 18 years old, and, we do have the health department, they come in and they do checks usually once a year to make sure everything is sterile and clean, and then we all have to have our bloodborne pathogens license too, which makes us like be aware of the risks and stuff involved, making sure that there's no cross contamination. So that's something you want to know your artist is being very clean, that they're, using fresh needles. They know how to change out their gloves. They know how to wrap everything because, I mean, when you're working with blood, I mean, you risk, cross contamination and you're
Right.
all these different things. So you have to take that part of your job super seriously too, so that nobody gets infected or gets some sort of disease from it.
So people can bleed when they're doing the.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. When you're puncturing their skin, they're bleeding. Yeah.
See, I took a flu shot yesterday,
Uh-huh.
a- and everybody in this around the CVS zip code heard me scream.
That's me.
Um,
I hate needles, and surprisingly enough, I don't like getting shots.
you hate needles, and you had to
Yeah.
do.
It's so funny. To me, the needle that I use, it's like a paintbrush. I see it as creating art, but if it comes down to like I could never pierce somebody's ears. I feel like that would freak me out. So
Okay,
different.
let me ask you this: how has your faith journey like shaped your approach to tattooing? How has your faith as a Christian shaped your, you know, how do you approach it?
That's a great question. Now I see my tattoo career. I see what I do as my ministry. So I want to glorify God in everything that I do. So I'm always looking for opportunities for God to use me. Whether it's, doing a tattoo for somebody that's going to be about their faith, knowing that they're going to be able to go out there now and share Jesus with people because they got a cross tattoo and somebody might ask them. Or I'm looking for opportunities to pray for people. If I feel led to pray for somebody, I'll pray for them. And there's been so many different things I can pray for. If it's a tattoo for somebody who's lost a loved one, I love to pray for healing for that. Um,
Mm,
Somebody is going through divorce or a job loss or needs a physical healing or something like that. If I feel led to pray, I will pray for those clients while they're in the chair. And the owner of the tattoo shop that I work at, he does that a lot too. And he's inspired me since I've worked there. I started there 5 years ago, and
uh-huh.
I saw how much he was doing it, and it's really just encouraged me to continue to do it too because we've seen God move so much in our tattoo shop.
That's amazing. That's amazing. See, you don't hear, you don't think of that. That the
No.
Christian tattoo shops that they pray with people, and just amazing. Like because God always, I always say God is short staffed, and he always looking for laborers in
Mhm.
different ways. I mean, when I started comedy, people were so against me. Like you're of the devil. How could you bring comedy into the church? And then 100,000 or more people coming to Christ through our comedy concerts. Like, okay, well, God used that, and how? So let me ask you the hard questions. Not hard. It's like, how do you navigate conversations about tattoos with people who may have a different belief, like in the church? Like, you should not. Leviticus 19:28. It says, You shall not make any cutting in your flesh for the dead, nor tattoo any marks on you. I am the Lord. How do you navigate that? How do you deal with that?
Do you know what the verse says right before that one in Leviticus? It says
No,
that you shouldn't shave the sides of your beard or cut or trim your hair. So if you're looking at that, look, if you look at all of the other laws that are in Leviticus too, there's so many in there that we don't follow. One of the things was like mixing the material in your clothing. But really, if you look deeper into that specific verse too in Leviticus, where it's talking about making marks for the dead and they call it tattoos because they didn't really have another word for it. It was more of a pagan practice that God's referring to,
mm,
because he wanted, his people, Israel, to be set apart from the rest. And so that's why, God's giving all of these different rules. But it's not, he wasn't talking about tattoos and how they are today. It definitely was a different kind of pagan practice. He didn't want them, making idols or doing any of those other things. So it is very different. I would say the Bible isn't really clear on like what tattoos are today because it's not the same as what it was back then.
I see.
So I actually don't get this question a lot anymore. I used to, when I first started, people would ask, like, well, what does the Bible say about tattooing? I definitely went through a time in my career where I prayed a lot about it and I was asking God, like, should I be doing this? Because I don't want to do anything that goes against his word. So
Right.
I definitely made sure that I prayed about it. I seeked out wisdom. I talked to people. But I mean, the answer that I got from God and that I continue to get is that I am where I'm supposed to be right now. And I've gotten a lot of confirmation from that, from where he's led me throughout my career. So yeah, a lot of people, I think most Christians nowadays are don't see tattoos as sin or don't see them as bad. But if you're struggling with that, I definitely think if you're struggling for yourself, wondering if you should get a tattoo, I would have that conversation with God. I don't think, if you're struggling with it and you feel like it might be sin, talk to God about it, and maybe it's not for you. If you're gonna kind of feel like there's something wrong there, you don't have to get one. But I would say don't judge others for getting it, and I don't think that God says not to get tattoos.
No, that's a great answer. I know a lot of pastor friends who have it all over their bodies, and I have a lot of pastor friends who are completely against it. But it's
Mhm.
so interesting because my dad, he was born in the Holy Land, and he had a tattoo of a cross on his arm. And then, if you know about the old Christian, like the old Christians in Egypt, the Coptic Christians,
Uh-huh.
most of the Coptic Christians have a tattoo of the cross.
Uh-huh.
Most of them. It doesn't matter if you were born in 1920 or or 2008. Not they all have tattoos
Yeah.
of the cross in their arm. So
There's a
uh,
shop in Israel. My aunt went there about 2 years ago, and,
uh,
it's like one of the oldest shop that's been around in this family for generations and generations, and they do tattoos in there, for Christians and Jewish people, and they're all faith-based tattoos, and it's super cool that, they're still tattooing there. They've been there for hundreds of years.
right,
Yeah.
right. What do you call it? Have your arms? Do you when you come home? Are your arms tired?
No, I feel pretty good. I mean, arms aren't tired. If anything, it would be my back because I'm usually hunched over tattooing.
Uh
But
huh.
I think that working out in the morning, like getting my body moving at least in the beginning of the day, helps out. Just keeping my body like limber and not too tight.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, as far as, let's see, uh, I kind of blanked out on that question. But you do your husband tattoos? Do you charge him for it?
No.
You don't.
No, he would in return because he's a personal trainer, so he'll give me good workouts. In return, I'll tattoo him.
Oh, so you guys own the gym, and then he's okay. So he's a personal trainer.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and the baby. How do you you said you only work 4 hours, so you can juggle having the baby and working and all that.
Yeah, we've figured out a really good schedule. So right now I'm only tattooing 3 days a week, and I'll go into the shop for about 6 hours. So that's only 18 hours a week at the shop right now. And my husband will stay home with Zoe, and then on my days off I'll stay home with Zoe, and he's been picking up side jobs doing like different kind of construction jobs.
I see.
Yeah.
What is the millennial like? You're the like the perfect family, young family with one child living in one of the most expensive areas, most expensive. How is this? How is life for you guys in that area in this time of? Would you consider moving somewhere else?
I mean, God has provided so much for us. Like, even when I went on maternity leave, I feel like that was a challenge because that's 8 weeks without pay. But, God blessed us. We had our savings and got through that. And then I was able to get back to work like right on time. It's so expensive here, but we've talked about moving before. We'd love to move to like Montana or Idaho. But anytime that we pray about it, we feel like God's saying no, that we're supposed to stay here. I mean, you're in California too. Like they need us to stay and like fight for our state too. If all the Christians leave, who's going to be left here to fight for the state? So we feel like we're still called to be here right now.
Awesome, awesome. Okay. Well, Sam V, thank you. How do you guys have 40K subscribers but only have me watching? Well, you're not the only one watching. Uh, there's a lot watching, and also this is live recording. So in 2 weeks, it goes on the audio, and then there'll be that's when all the people watch it, Spotify and stuff. But thank you for your question. Any questions, Sam, about tattoos? We have the expert here. But anyway, this is interesting. I was gonna, what do you call it? So you answered a lot of questions about, do you pray with the people? Do you that? What advice, do you have for someone who's young person like thinking of starting to do tattoo?
So it's not easy to get into. You have to get an apprenticeship. So before you do that, I'd say you want to work on your drawing. You want to make sure that you have refined your skills. If you're going to make a portfolio, um, draw things and put things in your portfolio that look like tattoos because that's what artists are going to be looking for. Make sure that you work on outlines because that's like the hardest thing I feel like to nail down is you want to be able to get clean lines. So you want to get a good solid portfolio of your work together, and then you want to find an apprenticeship. And usually you want to find an artist or a shop that you really look up to. And that's going to be the hardest part is that a lot of shops aren't looking for apprentices. And what you're going to have to do in return for your apprenticeship is usually spend a lot of hours at the shop that are unpaid. So you can expect to be there like 20 to 40 hours a week. And you're going to be doing, in the beginning, you're going to be doing everything except for tattooing. You'll be cleaning the shop, answering phone calls, running errands. It's a lot of hard work, and a lot of artists don't usually let you tattoo the first year. So you kind of have
Mm,
to earn your place, show them that you're serious about getting into it. So if you are thinking about getting into it, you need to just be super patient. It is good to get into it when you're young, if you're still like living at home, because if you're not getting paid for your apprenticeship, you're not going to be able to pay the bills and pay for rent. So that's a really big thing, unless you have like a part-time job that you can work at night. I was doing that for a while. I was apprenticing, and then I'd apprentice from, I don't know, like 10 to 6 o'clock. And then I would go to a restaurant. And then I would work from like 6 o'clock till 11 p.m. and then do it
wow.
like all over again the next day.
Wow. Now, Nikki, how can someone know if they want to go to get a tattoo, like where not to go, like what, how can you decide or discern a good tattoo place from a bad one, or s-
Yeah, I think you want to find somebody that does the style that you're looking for specifically. Instagram is a really good place to start right now, is just to look on there. You could look up hashtags. So for us, like hashtag San Diego tattoo artist, places like that. Look for their work online. You could also look on Yelp too. Shops will usually, you'll be able to see if they have good reviews or not. So that's super important. But then just being able to look at their work, look at their portfolio. If you want somebody who does color tattoos, make sure that they have color tattoos in their portfolio. Don't go to somebody like, if you look at my page, it's like all black and gray. So don't ask me to do a big colorful piece for you, because I probably am not the best person to go to for that. So you
Mm.
want to find somebody that has their style, and then just look closely at their work. Like look at their line work, look at their shading. If they post healed tattoos, what do those look like? Those things are super important to look for, to make sure that you're getting a really good quality artist.
That's a very good advice. That's a very good advice. Yep. If you go to someone that, yeah, if you don't do colors, I notice in your profile.
Yeah.
So do you, what do you call, do if if people do feet, does it tickle? Do they laugh while you're doing it, like they're tickling?
Yeah, some people get ticklish. There's been times where I'm like, especially on the sides, like on the ribs, people tend to get ticklish there. So I'll have to like kind of go in a little bit, back off, and then go back in. They kind of need me to like, they need a warning buzz before they can like continue. But people can be a little squirmy.
That's very, it's very interesting to me. I just I let's see what, so how can people get a hold of you and say, hey, I would like this Christian young lady to do my tattoo, if I want to, if someone gets one, how can they get a hold of you?
Right now, you could follow me on Instagram. It's Tattoos by Nicki. I think it's on here how you spelled my name right, Nicki. So if you follow me right now, I'm not taking any more bookings. I have a wait list. So my wait list is closed, but around February, I'll be opening back up to take more clients. But my tattoo shop has a lot of other, I don't own it, but the one that I'm at has a lot of other great artists there. So it's called Vessel Tattoo, and we're in Fletcher Hills in San Diego. And there's a lot of artists there. You could look at other portfolios on the website. And so if you just Google Vessel Tattoo, you could find out all about our shop and all the different artists that we have.
Vessel tattoo, Vessel
L. Yeah.
tattoo.
Yep.
Okay, so perfect. So people can find you guys out, and Vessel tattoo.
Hmm.
And also, if you want to get a hold of Nikki, it's at Tattoos by Nikki, and you can reach out to her. And she's busy because I only get the best tattoo artists on my podcast, and you're the first, so you're the only one. I know. So that's awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate. I know you have a baby and you need to be with her, and I didn't want to take more of your time, but I appreciate your time, and
This was
hopefully
great. Thank you so much for having me on.
you're welcome. I hope this is fruitful for you, and hopefully, if guys, also, I just want to say, if you need a trainer, if you need some guys, if you're over 40, and you go to the gym, you need a trainer. Your husband is a trainer. He owned a gym, but now he has free time to be able to help train you. So if you reach out uh to Nikki and say,
Mhm.
hey, is your husband available for training?
Yeah,
To
he's hoping
for
to launch online training in January, so look out for that.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you for your time and God
Thank you,
bless
Nazan. It
you.
was so nice to meet you. God
The
bless.
same here. Hopefully, we'll meet in person. Say hi to Pastor Hoffman.
I absolutely will. Come
Take care.
visit us sometime. All right, bye.
I will. Bye. And thank you guys so much for watching. This is interesting. Very, as I said, this is no debating. This is something where we want to know what the artist's ideas. She's a believer. She loves the Lord. She prays with people who come to her shop, and I'm always intrigued by how God uses different people to do His work. And it's not just a pastor on the pulpit. It's not just a teacher in the Christian school. It just God uses different people in different places to do His work. I mean, we had people here that used to be with the CIA, and people would do, to go get sex traffickers. I had people who own, MMAs, what do you call it, clubs and all that. It's different people. God is using His children wherever He gifted them in, and that's amazing. So thank you for watching. If you want to get a tattoo or another tattoo, and all the work that Nikki does is very elegant and very, what do you call it, very what do you call it, fine stuff. Check her out, check her stuff. If you want a big color Jesus with the cross and the blood coming down, she can recommend some people to you. But I wouldn't recommend blood. So anyway, I love you guys. Thank you for watching. And again, Monday night, Shepherd Church up in Porter Ranch, which is by Encino, California, in the valley. Tuesday, I'm going to be in Besmo Beach, and subscribe. Let your friends know about this podcast. Okay. Love you guys. Thank you for watching, and you have a great, great